Only thing that's on my mind is who's gonna run this town tonight.
Play of the game in regulation. It is caught by Dyson. Can he get in? No, he cannot.
This town tonight.
We are, yeah, I said it, we are. This is STROUD Nation. Pledge your allegiance.
Welcome back to the Goal Line Stand. New week, new topics, new subject. Obviously, the panel's all here, as you can see. Justin, Krish, Debion, Kenyon, and Alex is back this week, as they both missed last week. Welcome back, guys. Let's start right off the top with some signings, because there's been a lot of debate on social media. We'll start with Martavius Bryant. Today it was announced he signed with the Dallas Cowboys. Krish is all excited about this, so I'll let him start this one. But Martavius Bryant, obviously last known played in the XFL, was the 5th best receiver on the squad, and has now got an opportunity and chance after being reinstated by the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys. Krish, you're excited about this. Obviously, Jeff Badet has had a lot to say on social media, as he was the leading receiver on that team. What's your opinion on this, Krish?
Man, I'm so happy for Martavius. I'm like, year to year, man. Like, I don't ever post on Instagram. I posted on Instagram, man. I'm so excited. Martavius is back. You know, I played for my Max Fires for one game. You know, once a Pirate, always a Pirate. That's how we rock over here. And, you know, Martavius, man, he just, I hope he does great things. I hope he starts. I hope he gets his bread. I hope he gets everything, because I'm all about people eating. You know, I'm not like the NAL. Like, I like to let people eat their food and everything. And so I rock with him, man. Martavius is about to go crazy. Let's go. Let's go, man.
And Krish has already started right out of the gate with the hot takes.
Easy there, bud.
Hey, go ahead. Talk your stuff.
Already starting off hot right out of the gate. Justin, what about you, man? What about this thought Actually, you know what? Hold on, Justin. We'll hold your thoughts for a second.
Default
Alex,
to the receiver here.
Yeah, we're going to start with the receiver. We're going to default to the receiver. We're going to go to the receiver here. Alex, I mean, I don't know if you saw the Jeff Badet tweet.
I didn't see it.
Or not.
I didn't see it. What did he say? Y'all tell me.
So I'm going to pull it up real quick. Give me a second. I didn't have it up when I went in. I did retweet it, so it should be able to pull up right quick for me. Where'd it go? There it is. So he said, "Welcome to the politics of the NFL. I've accepted it, though. Control what I can control." Then he posted, wide receiver Jeff Badet, 449 yards on 39 receptions and 5 touchdowns. Matthew Sexton, 364 yards, 23 receptions. Geronimo Allison, 259 yards, 23 receptions and a touchdown. Sweeting, I think it's Cinque Sweeting, 235, 21 receptions, 4 touchdowns. Martavius Bryant, 154 yards and 14 receptions. That was his XFL season last year. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, we know Vegas had a bunch of issues in the XFL, but what's your thoughts with this, you know, as far as the NFL giving him a shot? Because Martavius Bryant has not played a game in the NFL since 2018.
I mean, I'm never a fan of jealousy. You know, or you can't be worried about another guy's plate, because then someone's going to eat off yours. So whatever happens with him doesn't have anything to do, because it's not like he blew anything out the water either. You know what I mean? Like, barely 5. Did he have 500? Like 479 or a little bit over 500?
He was over 500. He was at 544, okay. I believe.
So you would say he had a modest season. It wouldn't be anything crazy. But if you think about being in the mid-season, you're going to go with someone that knows how that actually works versus someone that would necessarily be a rookie. You know what I mean? Like, they don't look for him to come in and be their number one receiver. I don't think they look at him to come in and change the tide. He comes in as a usable piece. So I'm sure they can use him on the field and use him in practice. But that it's like, I feel what you're saying, but right now you're not a plug and play guy. They'd have to teach you the system. It's kind of like what you've seen with Josh Dobbs, just on a smaller scale. You know, he has experience. We put him in, we give him X amount of plays, he can make it happen. Because we've seen his body of work. You know what I'm saying? Even if he's not the same player, it comes down to experience. Same thing with why Julio got picked up. But
Yeah.
that, like, there's no reason in doing that. Like, his time will come. But I could see if he was what's Zero from Seattle? The short guy from
You do it,
Ole Miss.
Ja'Cory Pearson.
Ja'Cory Pearson led the league in receiving.
Yeah.
So he'd have more of a case.
Yeah.
But I mean, y'all, they know why Martavis was out there, and just because his production wasn't the same, what did his coverage look like? Because of the respect he was getting on the field. It's the same thing with Josh Gordon. Like, what's the respect that he was getting on the field look like, so other guys could eat?
Yeah, I view that this is as something along the lines of Dallas basically bringing in a guy who's played in the NFL, knows the ins and outs of the NFL, what it takes, on a larger scale. Because Badette's been around teams, he's played, but Brian's actually started games, been there, you know. But Jalen Tolbert just had the game of his career, Justin, and he looked like a guy that they drafted in the 3rd round to come out there. Now we know that Michael Gallup has kind of struggled, and Brandon Cooks hasn't fit this system at all. Probably one of the worst trade-offs between Amari Cooper to Brandon Cooks ever. So Dallas is definitely struggling to find some sort of wide receiver help, but they have Kevontae Turpin as well, who's the USFL MVP. I know they use him primarily as a returner in special teams, but even he's starting to get some more rhythm with this offense. Is this a move that you think Dallas necessarily needed, or I mean, I guess how do you view this move coming from Dallas's perspective?
I mean, at the end of the day, AC kind of took all the words out of my mouth. I mean, you look at the Julio situation, and I mean, you compare it to even Josh Dobbs with Minnesota. They're looking for a plug and play guy. I've been there myself. I've had my share of NFL workouts where I felt like I've been better than some dudes that ended up ultimately getting signed. But at the end of the day, they have the experience. I don't. And so I'm not the plug and play guy yet. So part of my role and part of my journey of getting there is becoming the plug and play guy, to where I can go in and not ever have to skip a beat. And a lot of that comes with the resume. And so Martavis is a guy you don't necessarily have to teach the system because he's been in other systems where a lot of it's going to be crossover. It's just learning different terminology. And so going in and even knowing how to be a pro, knowing how to walk into a locker room and handle your business. Yes, there's been off the field issues with Martavis Bryant that put him in this kind of situation to begin with. But at this point, this is his opportunity to show that he can move past that. It's his probably one and final opportunity for him to move past that. So, I mean, obviously I'm all for giving guys that haven't had the chance to be their chances, because obviously I'm in that boat as a player, but at the same time, you understand how the game works, and that's not where a guy like me or a guy like him gets the opportunity now because of what the role is needing right now.
And the other thing with Martavius in comparison to a guy like Josh Gordon, because Josh Gordon's name has been thrown around a lot here as well, is why hasn't Gordon gotten the chance to come back into the NFL? And for me, it's because Bryant's on the right side of 30. And Gordon didn't necessarily light the world on fire either at the XFL. So I think that there's definitely a opportunity here to see what Martavius can do. And we all know the talent and what he's capable of possibly doing if he can get his head on straight, and hopefully he can stay straight and get an opportunity to play. For me, I'm fine with the move. Do I think that there's better, or do I think that there's probably more talented receivers or more I don't want to say more talented receivers. Martavius is really talented, but do I think that there's other receivers that probably grind just as hard or work just as hard as Martavius has been doing since 2018 that may deserve a chance? Absolutely. But I mean, I'm happy for Martavius because like Chris said, I'm not about taking any food, off anybody's plate by any means. And Martavius definitely has gone through the ringer to try to get himself back to here. So hopefully it's a feel-good story. Kenyon.
And it's a unique size.
Oh yeah,
he's
size,
he's
speed.
6'4".
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different.
and he's speed too. You know what I mean? Like he's got some speed there as well. Kenyon, you can throw a little fuel to this fire if you want, by all means. But I also want to bring up that Blake Martinez is coming out of retirement. I don't remember who he signed with. Does anybody know off the top of his head?
Carolina.
Carolina Panthers. He was the dude who retired because he was selling Pokemon cards, and then his Pokemon thing got shut down for like inappropriate content.
I remember
and now he's coming back. So he signed with Carolina too. I want your thoughts a little bit on the Carolina thing. I mean, we don't need to discuss Blake too much.
Nebraska?
Yeah. He was he actually led the NFL in tackles a couple years back, and
with the Packers.
And then abruptly retired because his Pokemon business was taken off, and then that kind of fell off out of the blue, and now he's coming back. So, Kenyon, let's touch base a little bit on both those signings because there's another signing I want to get to here. So, Blake Martinez, man, and Martavius Bryant. What are your thoughts?
I mean, me personally, I would never choose Pokemon over football. I feel like we all can like truthfully understand that, because that's only temporary. I feel like football is only temporary, but hey, I feel like you get more out of football than doggone Pokemon. And don't come at me in my social medias because I said that Pokemon. But hey, I mean, if you can play, you can play. Like I'm the type of guy. If you can play, you can play. It's really just flat out. Like I don't judge nobody because I don't want nobody out here judging me. So if you can come out and you can, go ahead hit somebody, go ahead catch a ball, run a route, block a person. Hey, you might have a chance in this world.
In-depth analysis from Kenyon tonight, guys. This is the most fired up I think I've seen him, in a while, man. He off camera, he was Browns. Yeah, off camera, he was on. Off camera, he was all jacked up.
I'm feeling destructive how the Browns winning this year, but we're gonna wait on that.
Yeah, no doubt. Devion, how about you, man? What are your thoughts?
Stay over there. Hold on, it's this way. Stay over there.
What are your thoughts on these two sightings, man? What can we get from this?
When it comes to Martavius?
Oh, Martavius or Blake. I mean, either one of them, whichever one you want to discuss. Or even Tyreek Cohen, as Rob Carlton has put in here, shut down. He tried making a comeback and ended up on IR as well.
Let's see.
That's deep. I didn't even know that.
Well, I just want to talk about the Martavius situation. Like you said, to compare it to the Josh Gordon situation, I think it's a bit of the same. I don't like to compare it as someone else said, but you're just looking at two people where they've got a bit mixed up when it came to things outside of football, and they're looking. I think Dallas is looking for somebody who is hungry, so maybe he can come in and not be that play-to-play person, but play the system right and get back reinstated or reaffirmed of who he is and maybe show the player that he can beat the Dallas. So hopefully it goes well for him.
Yeah, no doubt for sure. And one of the other signings that took place today is Carson Wentz, the former number 2 overall pick in 2016, has signed with the Los Angeles Rams as Matthew Stafford is dealing with his little ligament damage. He is joining the team that passed on him in the 2016 draft to draft Jared Goff. Justin, you're the resident quarterback on this one. I mean, we saw a similar move that they did a few years ago with Baker Mayfield when they brought him in and made that trade from Carolina. Wentz is taking he's taking a lot of heat and a lot of butt end of a lot of jokes and whatnot over the course of the years, but judging from what we saw from Brett Rippon, no offense to Brett Rippon in the game, and I know it's a tough situation coming in like that, but is it the right move?
Well, I'm not going to say I called it, but I called it because I know I said last week Carson Wentz with the LA Rams would kind of feel like a good fit. But no, I mean, it screams Baker Mayfield situation to me. I mean, this is a situation for him to really come back in, and if he can stay healthy and in this type of system with Sean McVay and the weapons that they have, there's a chance to potentially revitalize his career, which I think there's plenty of talent there. Mentally, I think there's something missing that has held him back in the past. But then obviously at the end of the day, the injuries have also held him back too. So, I mean, it's the best silver platter you can hand of an opportunity to Carson Wentz to say, hey, this is your chance, go take it. I mean, I'm happy for him. I think he's a good fit with the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, I think Colt McCoy could have been a very similar situation too. But no, I mean, Carson Wentz, I think, is one of the better in terms of talent level quarterbacks that could have been available. He's definitely someone who can run that system the way that Sean McVay would want a system to kind of be run, since he has a little bit of mobility. Obviously, Stafford wasn't asked to do that because Stafford truly doesn't have that. But at the end of the day, a little bit more mobile quarterback can still deliver passes in the pocket. It's just McVay is going to have to get in his brain and figure out the little issues that I've kind of seen of his game over the last couple of years that I think's kind of held him back and has maybe caused some of the injuries. But no, I mean, happy for Carson Wentz. Hope he goes out and plays well, because I was even thinking a Minnesota reunion, not even thinking Josh Dobbs was going to be available. Could have been.
Yeah, well, we'll touch on Josh Dobbs.
Hey,
we'll touch on Josh Dobbs.
Talk
too,
about
man.
him. We gonna talk about him.
Oh, I know we will.
We will definitely be bringing him up. Kenyon, I saw you shaking your head about the Carson Wentz thing. I mean, there's a couple things I want to bring up real quick before we get your thoughts. You know, Carson Wentz, I'm not going to absolve him of being, you know, of all the issues not being his fault. But I mean, I feel like he was a scapegoat with Indianapolis towards the end of the year. You know, he got hurt in Washington, didn't really ever get a chance to see the field. That team was kind of not really where it needed to be in terms of stability for him as well. You know, I think the ending of his career in Philadelphia really shot his confidence. And I think it kind of destroyed his ego more than he wanted to admit. So hopefully he took this time off here to kind of reassess that, and he's going to come back with some vigor. But Kenyon, what's your thoughts on this? I saw you over there shaking your head a little bit when Justin was talking. Like,
I was shaking my head because I don't believe we should compare my blood brother Baker.
I'm just saying where Baker was at in his career at that stage and where Carson's at right now are very, very similar situations. I think you know how much I love Baker.
You're not lying. But Carson Wentz, I mean, I can tell Carson Wentz, he's trying to gain his little confidence back. I actually got a chance to meet Carson Wentz when I lived in Philly a couple years back. He's a good dude. You could tell, like, when he was reaching more his end, he was kind of the end of his career in Philly. He was reaching because of all of his other circumstances, but I got faith in him. I got faith in him because where he's going, I feel like he for sure can thrive. He can sling the rock. He can, you know what I'm saying? He's going to have the tools to be able to go ahead and win a game or two. So I truthfully got faith in the guy for sure. But, you know, it's always that little angel on the edge of your shoulder talking. So we just got to see. That's the exciting part. We got to see.
Alex, what are your thoughts on this, my man? You got some thoughts on the Wentz
Not
signing
really.
at all? No.
I don't understand. I mean, I do understand, but I don't know.
Keep it going. He's just trying to keep it going.
I don't know, honestly, for real, man. Like when I seen it, I was like, Carson Wentz.
Chris,
they talking or what?
hot take, Chris, man.
So, you know,
you always have a thought about something. So I mean,
yeah, I know, I do. Where I come from, you know, where I come from, we're back in blood, so you know how it goes. I think that honestly, like, I'm happy for Carson. I think, you know, Matthew's injury, it's kind of full circle. The way his wife behaves, maybe he deserves it. You know, so I'm hoping that Carson kind of takes this shit, rides with it. I hope Carson puts up MVP numbers and takes Matthew's job. Matthew can pack up the bags. Him and his wife can, you know, go back to Detroit. And the way she disrespected Blueface is unreal, and it shows the type of person he is. So I'm sick of hearing from him, wife, and everyone else. So, you know, I'm happy for Carson. He deserves it because Carson is humble. Carson is a real Southern man. You know, there's something called a fake Southern man, which is what Matthew Stafford is, and then there's what Carson Wentz is. Carson Wentz is a real Southern man. You know, a lot of people down
Carson Wentz wasn't even born in the South.
Isn't Carson Wentz like from North Dakota?
He's from Fargo, North Dakota, about an hour from where my grandma lives in Detroit Lakes, home of Adam Thielen.
Don't let no Georgia Bulldogs catch you saying that, G.
Oh,
Matthew
man.
Stafford is him. What you mean?
I'm about to say they love him down there. He's
He's still
an honorary country boy.
And he's not even in his realm in terms of as a player. So what are we discussing?
We're not
And
even
then
calling. We're not
what
even.
you talking about?
I don't know who.
Wentz can't hold Matthew Stafford's cleats, bro.
We're not.
And then what happened with Blueface?
Oh,
Where did Blueface come from?
He has strippers at the game.
Who did?
That's so
Blueface?
Blueface. When he proposed to his girl.
Remember that. To Rock.
No, the other chick.
Oh, okay, but his wife.
Hold
on. His wife is gonna get mad at Blueface for giving young women an opportunity to shine in a platform. And see, this is where the evilness comes in. So I think that
who's the young women trying to shine? The trippers?
I'm not gonna say it. Blueface.
You talking about the second one with the botched BBL?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Just tell them to go on X and post their OnlyFans link. That'll do it there.
I feel like they've already done that somewhere very, you know what I'm saying, recently.
It's not that there's so much more that goes into it. There's so much hard work that people don't see. You know, it's all a media scheme, and Kelly Stafford is kind of pushing that out there. So, you know, Blueface was just trying to do good.
We're trying to maintain family programming here, guys. We're trying.
Didn't Blueface beat up Krishan Daddy?
No. Blueface.
Here we go.
A victim of persecution. He's been a victim of it, and this is just another example of it. So,
oh my God. Okay.
I've met people that know Blueface. That new Blueface in high school.
No,
they
man.
say Blueface ain't like that.
You can't be a Blueface supporter, man. Like
Krish is no longer hot take Krish. It's off the rails, Krish. He's derailed this entire conversation right here. Look at this. You got Rob over here talking about strippers. Look at this.
Hey, everybody love a little strippers.
I'm an advocate of young women. I'm supporting women, and I'm an advocate of them pursuing their dream and their passion. And if that's what they're passionate about, then let them go. How are we? Kelly Stafford is trying to stop the next generation. So
you know what? You go, Chris. You go, girl. Let's go. You go, girl. You do what you do. Go ahead and do what you do.
Yeah, welcome to the Gold Line Stand, where we're talking about Blueface and strippers. Man, you got me all messed up now. Let's move on to
sex workers. We don't support sex workers.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I did want to ask
they're
AC.
escorts.
Before we move on, I wanted to ask AC this question: if not for Carson Wentz, who do you think would you, if you're the GM, who would you want to have the job in LA?
That's a good question.
That's available
That's
right
a
now.
Great question.
Cam Newton.
Colt.
Stop saying him.
Nah, I agree with Colt.
Or do you think Jameis Winston trade could have been something?
Absolutely not. Never say that again. He's terrible.
Well, apparently Minnesota must pull the trigger on that.
We're not going to do that. He's terrible.
That's crazy. That's wild.
He's terrible.
Now I keep all my stuff on the low, so you won't even need to hear about that. You know, you kind of all behind closed doors. You know, so.
Jameis isn't it.
We got two different.
Jameis gonna fire somewhere. Or
Well,
no,
what he
matter of fact,
talking
no.
for? 30
I feel like
TDs and 30 picks?
Teddy Bridgewater gonna find somewhere
How
before
do you
Jameis.
throw 30 picks?
He was just trying to. Hey, look, Peyton Manning threw 28 his rookie year. Look, I'm just saying that we. I know. I'm just trying to say.
We'll never mention Peyton Manning. He didn't have any receivers either at the time.
Hey, well, you know what?
Harrison and what's the name weren't there yet.
You know what, AC? Maybe he was just trying to pay homage to ESPN and trying to get on a 30 for 30. You know what I mean?
Like
maybe that's what he was trying to do, 30 for 30. You know what I'm saying?
Being a food thief.
What if I told you?
No.
That's why my Ducks beat him up in the playoff because he stole food.
All those crab legs.
The brother was hungry.
He's rich. He's the quarterback for Florida State. You're rich.
Wait a minute now. Now, are we talking before NIL deals or after? Before NIL deals or...
Bro, you are not the starting quarterback of any major Power 5 university and not taken care of. That's not happening. Especially like Florida State.
Whoa, look at you! Just
I mean, well, you're not
is that
wrong.
just because you
You're
have Bo
not
Nix as the
wrong,
quarterback?
but I feel like there are times
No,
where there are
but
lackluster moments. Like, come on now.
but I mean, first of all, Bo Nix might get that Heisman though. My dog is balling. But
Yeah, I mean, the Pac-12 doesn't play defense. It's cool.
I mean, they play more than the Big 12. Look how many of those quarterbacks are playing.
Well, I mean, I guess that's pretty fair. That's a pretty fair assessment.
Patrick Mahomes. I mean, did you see his games? 60 to 61. Like,
yeah, throw
Browns
500,
over
throw
bad,
500
man.
yards and lose.
Geno
at least
Smith
24
broke how
to
many
15.
records in the Big 12?
Yeah, I mean, hey, yeah. West Virginia had that high-powered offense back then, though.
Now you're starting talking about my college games.
Yeah, see,
I think Graham Harrell still has all the records. I don't know.
He still does.
Oh yeah, Graham Harrell. Nice name drop, by the way. AC, I like that. I applaud that. Nice name drop. I like that. Yeah, got root for that. Speaking of name drops, how about Daniel Jones? Major injury, ACL out for the year.
And Cam Akers.
And Cam, I was just going to mention Cam Akers, and unfortunately for my boy Cam, because Cam is one of my favorite players in the league. It may be a career for him.
Yep.
Unfortunately, as much as I hate to say that, I mean,
The worst part about it is because
that's the second Achilles tendon in 2 years.
He's a problem.
Well, I mean, he was starting to get acclimated in that Minnesota offense. He looked like he was starting to really kind of get some more play. I mean, Justin might touch on it a little bit when he does his Minnesota report a little bit later on, but he was looking more efficient. His running style was still – his running between the tackles was still pretty lackluster, which was a little surprising considering how well – I mean, he played really good ball at Florida State during that Willie Taggart years, and nobody really played good for – I mean, those teams were awful with Willie Taggart down there. I know, I'm a Florida State fan. So it's it was bad.
Y'all don't produce good pro running backs just like we don't.
Well, Dalvin Cook. Ward done.
That's about a 20-year gap.
We do.
I mean, I can name drop some running backs for you now. We got LeGarrette Blount. We got Jonathan Stewart. We got Ruben Jones.
Wait, you're going to name drop LeGarrette Blount and tell me that Dalvin Cook doesn't belong in that list?
Nah, Dalvin Cook's the only one, though.
No, we got to count
Ward Dunn played before they started really making Madden games.
You still.
I'll just keep my mouth shut because I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan. We are RBU.
Yeah, you are RBU.
That's like me. That's like me saying Dan Fouts as one of our quarterbacks. Like, did you see him play? I didn't.
Well, actually, while we're talking about it, let's speak about running backs real quick because this is usually brought up on the individual team report, but it's a minor individual team report because it's a secondary team. So we're going to talk a little bit more in depth. Arthur Smith is awful. Flat out, period. Awful. His comments today, by the way, in case you guys didn't hear, he was asked about Bijan Robinson not being involved. Now, the Atlanta Falcons, just for a reminder, refresher, spent the 8th overall pick on Bijan Robinson. Arthur Smith, these words came out of the head coach's mouth and said, him not being used is a good way to use him because the attention is brought onto him and it opens things up elsewhere. And that's not quote for quote, but that's basically what he said. So Arthur Smith is either playing chess while everybody else is playing Go Fish, or he is playing baseball when everybody's playing football, because I have never in my life heard this from a head coaching perspective.
He tried to make it make sense.
What I will tell you is
he tried to make it make sense.
What I will tell you is he's playing FedEx. He's playing FedEx while everybody else is trying to play football.
No.
But like he tried to
you
see what he did there though. Like he tried to make it make sense though.
Like
that's crazy how he tried to do that.
If you know the FedEx reference, you know.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, Kenyon, he tried making it make sense, and in the process ended up in a friggin' straitjacket is what happened. Like, you're a head coach. You're a head coach of a friggin' franchise that spent the 8th overall pick on a running back, and your whole objective is to not freaking use him? Yeah. Like, what is happening, Justin? What is going on down there?
I sat there in the stands, and obviously I'm a fan of both teams that were playing there, and I'm sitting here saying, for multiple weeks, seasons that Arthur Smith has been in charge, there's an inability to scheme your best players open. You're not using your best players. Obviously, Drake London hasn't lived up to the expectations, but how much of that also is like Arthur Smith not utilizing him the right way? or even just the quarterback situation. Like, I understand you have to go to Heineke after Ritter has kind of struggled. I understand that. But just kind of the method in which going from Mariota to Ritter last year, or you look at, from Mariota to Ritter last year, and then Ritter.
My dog is shot. He had no help.
Yeah, exactly. And then you go Ritter to Taylor Heineke this year, and then even this week, it did not look like Taylor Heineke was prepared to play this type of game, because I hold Taylor Heineke to a higher standard than what he played on Sunday. And I thought that he was going to go in and at least be a valuable-ish mid-tier starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, granted, Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, I will say Algier is a solid running back, and he still needs to be used. But I don't understand why you're really trying to split carries 50-50 or even 70-30 to favor Algier when you have a potential generational talent like Bijan Robinson in the backfield. I don't understand it. I think it all kind of falls back down to an inability to scheme your best players open. And that's not me even bringing in my thoughts about the lack of utilization of Kyle Pitts. I sit there and say, I've obviously watched the Tennessee Titans a lot because Malik Willis plays there, whatever. And even before that with Tannehill, I was kind of a fan of Tannehill. But I even looked at their offense with Arthur Smith there, and I'm like, this is boring. I would rather watch paint dry. They win football games, but it's not very exciting. I feel like he's ported that over to Atlanta, and you look at who Atlanta has as potential players to build around, and you may be potentially ruining the careers of these guys because you're not utilizing them or scheming plays to utilize them the way that they should be. I look at that and say, yeah, the defense is okay. The team on paper is okay, but it's just it gives me a bad taste.
You got no words. Like, you just have lost for words. So we got 4 players right now here with me. So I'm going to ask one question. I'm going to go right around the panel. Debian, I'll start with you down there in the corner, or at least on the corner on my screen. I don't know where the hell you are on your screen. But as a player, when you hear your head coach say this, how do you react to that? And what do you think it's done to the Atlanta locker room?
For them to speak about Bijan?
Well, just speak about the fact that not using him is a good way to utilize him. Can you make that make sense to me?
I would like what he used, the FedEx quote, but I'm not too sure. I see the only way I could see it being a good thing is, the running back workload and how much they bring to the table when it comes to running more than 20 carries a game. So the only way that I could see that being a good thing is taking the workload off of him and allowing the other running back to do so. But if not, I see Bijan like, what are we doing? I want to run the ball more than 20 times a game. But, maybe they want to keep him healthy. So that's the only way I can look at this being a good thing. Outside of that,
you got to be there at the end of the year to keep him healthy. Kenyon, what does it do for you as a player? And if you heard your coach say something like this, whether it's about you or somebody else for that matter in your locker room?
As an offensive lineman, that's different. That's completely different. I mean, like it's like if you're not on the field as an offensive lineman, you're irrelevant. Almost. Like you can't do anything. You can't block nobody. You can't put nobody on their behind. Like it's not good for you. So, I mean, me personally, when like something like that kind of happens to me, I kind of, you might have to start looking to take your talents elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? You might have to pull LeBron. You might have to go to South Beach on him. You feel me?
AC, thoughts on this, man? What does it do for you? I mean, does it do anything at all? Is it a locker room killer or what? Like what? How do you feel?
If it were me and it's my teammates, first of all, there's certain guys that get respect. Coaches that did what they're saying, and coaches that think that they know something because they can regurgitate analytics. You know what I'm saying? He's never been a player. And I just Googled, his dad is the founder of FedEx.
That's why.
So he's just a rich kid.
FedEx.
Like, where did he get this job from?
Okay,
You know
I
what
like
I'm
that
saying?
one. I like that one.
So,
Justin.
like, if we were
Good opening.
if we're in the locker room, we're like, bro, this dude is talking about something he don't even know. That sounds plumb stupid. We just drafted this dude top 5, and we're going to use him as a decoy. Why would you draft a guy top 5 and try to split carries? That's like the BS that they're doing it with the Lions. Yes, the one guy, what's his name? That they traded for.
David Montgomery.
Montgomery is good, but do you see the difference when Gibbs is out there? It's electric.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like the whole split carry idea. Like, I think analytics is ruining the game. I really do. But in the same breath, it's like, dog, you're not even qualified to be given the knowledge that you're given. I don't care how long you've coached, you never played. That doesn't make sense. Players that's on the team, you know what guy is here that's good and what guy here that's really like that. And they stand behind him. They like, bro, why aren't we getting this guy the ball?
Yeah, well,
Bijan with the ball in his hands is something always happens.
I'm a believer in the running back position. I'm a believer in the running back position getting an extra player and splitting carries to a degree because I think it does prolong the longevity of running backs. But if you're not creatively trying to get a guy like Bijan Robinson the ball and you're not giving him the opportunities and chances, then you are 100% out of your element and don't deserve to be a head coach. And the GM down there in Tennessee has got to be pissed at this point in time because you know that Arthur Smith had input into this pick at number 8. And they spent pick number 4 on Kyle Pitts. They picked pick number 5 on Drake London or whatever it was, 7 on Drake London. They have weapons out there, and it's literally the most mediocre Atlanta team ever. And Arthur Smith's a problem. He was
in Tennessee, right, with Mariota.
Yeah, he was a tight ends coach, which was actually one of the most useless coaches.
Yeah. That's why Mariota went
coaches of football. So
yeah,
I don't really understand like the old idea of football. The number 1 running back was a 20 to 25 carry guy, maybe 25 to 30.
Yeah.
Then you had a change of pace back, like your third down guy. But now it's like you try to divvy carries. Like, I'm the number 1 back for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, rather, there's a reason the longevity wasn't what it was. So now you're just thinking about getting the best bang for your buck. You're not thinking about what's best for your team. You need him on the field. Derrick Henry for how long didn't have a guy he's splitting carries with because he had the opportunity to become the best back in the league, just like Christian McCaffrey. Bijan needs that opportunity.
But the unfortunate nature of the game is it's dying.
Yeah,
Justin, I know you got something you want to say here, but I just want to end this real quick with my thought process before going to you. Is his comments remind me of being at the 1 yard line in the Super Bowl. And you have a running back who's carried 5 yards a carry in the game, and you split him out wide left and run a slant to somebody that nobody's ever heard of. If I'm doing it to Seattle, and if anybody can sit there and tell me that they know who it was that was on the receiving end of that pass without looking it up, I would be
Ricardo Lockett.
Yep, it was Ricardo Lockett. It was.
I just know because of what he did. Like, I drilled that whole idea. Mm-hmm. He didn't run that play at all in the season.
Yeah, that's what.
And he's the reason. Like, I really don't stand by the call, but he's the reason that it was picked off. It's very poor route discipline.
Oh, it was absolutely.
He tried to catch the ball with his body. If you try to catch it with your hands, it's a PBU, not an interception.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean,
it's a special teams guy. That's like throwing a slant to Matthew Slater. Why would you do that?
For sure, Justin. Go ahead and finish off your thoughts with this one, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, and just kind of piggyback off of what Deb and you said, Michael. I understand in today's day and age splitting carries. I'm fine with splitting carries, but if you're going to split carries, you still need to be creative to find ways to get Bijan the ball. You can get him the ball in the pass game. You can set up screens. You can set up other ways to get him the ball because today's offenses are getting the ball to playmakers in space. So find a way to get Bijan in space, and then you already see what he does with some of the highlight plays that he's making. So it's just ineptitude. And I think he deserves to be fired. I know I've met the guy. I've worked out for the guy. I think he's an overall smart guy. But at the end of the day, he's a smart, analytical guy that, like AC said, has never played football since probably high school. And even then, before that, he was really probably already getting into the coaching mindset anyway, because he knew at the end of the day, his dad is the founder of FedEx. And he's worth $5.8 billion. So if NFL coaching doesn't work out for him, he's already made plenty of millions doing that, and he can still go run a FedEx.
But how many rooms does that get you in? Because my dad is the founder of FedEx.
A
A lot of guys wouldn't even have that opportunity. But I do want to ask y'all this, all of y'all who have, y'all know the game. Just a pushback to what you're saying about the two systems, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm a professional, how do I prepare if I don't know what my workload is?
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
If this week I get 30 carries and next week I get 12, how do I approach that game? Like if you had to split carries, we had a dual quarterback system. Mm-hmm. How do you prepare? Just be ready when your number's called?
Yeah.
That doesn't work for your top guy.
Exactly. And that's where I think, especially from a running back perspective, that's where you have to be able to have different things to keep players involved to where, okay, yeah, if you are going to go split carries, yeah, you may not say this game you're getting 70% of carries, your guy, and this guy's getting 30%, because at the end of the day, it's an on the field, in the moment type feel for the game. But at the end of the day, like you could go two backs, and you could have your run. You have your run option there with Tyler Algier in the backfield, but then you also can then split out Bijan and then motion him around, get him involved in even like little sweeps in front, jet sweeps and things like that. There's ways to get him involved. And Bijan's a type of player that, I've never met him, but he seems to be a type of player that would want to be involved any way that he possibly can be involved, and he'd be prepared for that. So finding ways to get him involved that way. It's how Christian McCaffrey's used. It's how even like a guy like Taysom Hill is used. Finding ways to get playmakers involved any way that you possibly can gives you different dimensions of an offense, which takes the one-dimensional, hey, we're going to hand it to Bijan Robinson here. Like, you can hand it to Tyler Algier. You can even throw a screen out to Algier to keep things multiple offense, things like that. But, yeah, you got to be able to keep him involved and keeping him off the field just to make sure he doesn't tear his ACL or doesn't get hurt. That's stupid to me, especially when you put the 8th overall pick into somebody and someone is proving on the field that they are as talented as they were expected to be. You got to be able to, like Derrick Henry, give him the rock.
And I want to compound this real quick before we end this subject and move on to another topic here. But watching this game and talking strictly about this Minnesota game, Atlanta was on the 1 yard line. It was 1st and goal, I believe, and they ran a jet sweep to Jonnu Smith, Bijan Robinson on the sideline. Now, on top of that, to make that even worse, Atlanta's top 2 receivers were out of this game. So they were running with Mac Hollins and Kaderil Hodge, and yet you couldn't put Algier in the game. Yeah, and you couldn't put Algier and Bijan Robinson on the field at the same time because he's better on the sideline. It made no damn sense to me. The game was completely awful. They deserved to lose it. They shouldn't have even been in it, in my opinion. But that's a different story for a different day. Yes, Curtis, you are correct. Arthur Smith is a bum. Thank you for watching, by the way, man. We appreciate that. All right, I got a question to ask y'all. It's going to be a very quick yes or no. We don't need. You can give a little explanation if you want. I'm going to start with Chris because he bounced back onto the screen here. Kyler Murray, we talked a lot about him last week. We know that they are 1-8. He is starting this week. Chris, is this the right move? Yes or no? And give a little reason as to why you think it is.
Yeah, I do. I think we saw what Clayton Tune did last week. Obviously, he's still a rookie, right? Still a learning curve, but I feel like Kyler, this is a good opportunity to see what you have, kind of ride it out to the end of the season and make a decision going on in your future. This is a critical time for the Arizona Cardinals. Right now, I believe Kyler Murray is a better quarterback than Caleb Williams. I think Kyler still has it left in him, and I'm not ready for them to go out and get Caleb. I think Caleb, you'll see what Caleb's going to be. Caleb's going to be in the IFL, so.
Oh, okay. Hot take Christian's back. Justin, same question. Yes or no? Right move? Yes or no? And give a little explanation as to why.
If he's truly 100% healthy, yes, because you're paying him to be that. At the end of the day, he's the quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals for the foreseeable future. I know we discussed this last week on how my team building philosophy and your team building philosophy are a little different. But at the end of the day, you're paying him buku bucks to be this team's quarterback. And trust me, you'll get 2 or 3 games out of him. Call of Duty comes out, and then he's out again. So see what you have for the 3 games that you're going to have him, and then go from there. But if he's healthy, play.
All right.
Good. I like that.
AC, what do you think? Yeah, right move at 1-8.
You don't have another choice. I mean,
it's do or die.
You don't have another choice.
Hey, Kenyon, you think it's the right choice too as well? 1-8.
They're in do or die mode. They're just trying to make something work.
Okay. All right, Devion, how about you, my man? You think it's the right choice?
Yeah, I think keeping Kyler is the best choice right now, as of right now. Especially you're not bargaining on anything, so yeah.
I think it's the wrong choice for this year, especially if you are going to move forward with him. If you're going to keep him on the roster for next year, and you don't plan on moving on from him at 1-8, it doesn't do you any damn good. All it does is ruin your potential and chance at being able to get the first overall pick taken away from you. We saw it with the Jets a few years ago when they won that late game. You're at 1-8. You are out of the playoff hunt. I don't care even if you rattle off 2 straight wins here. There is no way in hell, in my opinion, you're going to get in, even in the awful NFC. And I think that if you're going to move forward with him, like if we use Justin's team building philosophy, then you save him, let him get past that physical, pay him that money, but then you take that first overall pick and either trade out of it to get more picks to give him more help, or you use that first overall pick on an offensive lineman of some sort or somebody that's going to impact the game to help him out next year. Because at this point in time, if you go from pick 1 to pick 6, you're not helping your team at all there with Kyler Murray, in my opinion, because even if you trade back from 6, it's not very good. So I think it's the wrong move. I think you move forward with Clayton Tune, let him give a chance to see what he does with Davis Mills. Davis Mills' situation in Houston a few years ago. But just from that standpoint, if you are going to move forward with Kyler Murray, I think it's the wrong decision. So, I'm sure we'll talk about Kyler Murray again down the road. But right now, let's move on to something else. The Raiders made a big move at the end of the last show. They fired Josh McDaniels. They got rid of their offensive coordinator. They got rid of their GM. They got rid of the ball boy. They fired the water people. They brought in Bobby Boucher. I mean, Antonio Pierce, former player, already changed the culture in a week over there. I mean, I know they played the Giants with Daniel Jones hurt, but his comments today that I saw, or it was yesterday, was the practice squad guys being on the sideline. I don't know if you guys saw the video or not. They asked him why the practice squad guys were there, and he said it's because they have a Raiders uniform. So he's already decided to unify that locker room. It looks like Devontae Adams is happy again. Hunter Renfrow was happy again. I mean, I don't know if that necessarily means anything, but they got to win underneath Antonio Pierce. Is he the right guy in Las Vegas? I mean, Shane's not here tonight, but is he the right guy? That so far, I know it's only 1 week. We don't want to overhype it too much, but it sounds like the mentality and everything else is already starting to come around. This team might rally around him. Anybody? Nobody has thoughts on this? Anybody?
Yeah.
I
was waiting on him to call.
I figured Chris was going to hop right in because I mean.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking. So I like Antonio Pierce. He's been, obviously a high school coach at Long Beach College in California. Really successful program. I think players connect with players. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a former player, I'm not saying all former players are good coaches. Coach Negon is not a former player. He's a great coach. So you don't have to play football to be a good coach. I think it adds a little element. I think Antonio Pierce is a great guy. I think he's a great guy. I can just tell the way he fired up that locker room. He's like a version of Dion, but he's different. He's like the NFL version. Like, I feel like he knows when to be strict. He knows when to bring down the hammer a little bit. And I think Dion is still learning that. So I think it's important to have that leadership at the point they are. Devontae Adams looks so happy. That's one thing I need to mention. Like, he looks a lot more happier. And you can just tell, like, if he's happy, everyone's happy. Because he's hard to satisfy. So,
Kenyon, for what you seen from Antonio Pierce in 1 week, and the culture being changed as fast as it has, and the players rallying around him. I mean, if you're Mark Davis, you got to consider, no matter what the record may be, about making this guy at least give him a year. Correct? You would think.
Oh, totally. I want to say that's a player's guy right there. That's a guy that can go into your locker room, shake some things up. You know what I'm saying? He got a little gangster to him, a little edge. He got a chip on his shoulder, and he's here. He's trying to hype everybody up and get them ready to get a couple wins within the rest of this season. I like him. I think he should stay. Point blank, period. I like him. He got that gangster in him. I like that.
Point blank, period. Like it. Straight to the point. Debian, you got you unmuted and then muted back up there. What are your thoughts here?
I'm with if the players like what he brings to the table, then I think it's a good thing, because at the end of the day, you have your coaches, but you have your players who, if they love their coach, they would definitely go out there and ball for him in ways that probably people couldn't understand. So they got a week 1 with him. They got to win. So, like you said, no matter the record, I think you have to consider keeping him as a coach for maybe a year or so and seeing what he can do and brings value to that team. But, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And this reminds me a little bit of the Steve Wilkes situation in Carolina last year, right? Like, I mean, he came in as the interim coach after Matt Rule got fired. The players really rallied around him. They were actually making a case for them to go ahead and keep him on. They didn't. They went out and got Frank Wright, and right now they're standing at 1 win as well. Justin or AC, whichever one. If you guys had thoughts on this, I mean, you gotta listen to your team, man. In my opinion, or at least you should, as a GM or an owner in this situation, because you fall back into that Carolina situation.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they looked like they played inspired football. They looked like they actually took pride and cared about being a Raider, which in a way unifies the locker room. I mean, so he's definitely making a strong case to be considered. I mean, yeah, I hate to be this guy, but it's also been 1 week, so pump the brakes a little bit. So, but obviously, no. I mean, you look at some of that, and this isn't to take anything away from Antonio Pierce, because I think he's an amazing coach. Really, players rally around him, and that's truly a guy that you really need to have in a locker room, and guys rally around that. So if that's how your team culture is going to be, then you need that guy there to be your head man. But at the end of the day, you also have to at least put some stock into if it was going to be anybody but McDaniels, would this have been the same? And so obviously I think it's more speaking to Antonio Pierce and how his philosophies are, how he is as a human being. But at the end of the day, it was against a third string quarterback after Daniel Jones got hurt. But they did they did care about being Raiders. They took pride in how they played. And that does speak volumes. So if the culture continues to be changed like this, and they're smoking cigars after every win, and they're jumping around in the locker room doing everything they want to do, and they're playing some good football, then yeah, sign me up for Antonio Pierce for at least a year.
Speaking of cigars, marijuana just got legalized in Ohio. So big news for all you Ohio folks. Celebrate tonight.
You are on trash today. You talking about
I'm about to say you trying to get people.
You are on trash tonight.
And I'm going to go ahead, Chris, and let you know, Chris, that marijuana is weed. There's no difference there.
Okay.
So
marijuana and weed is the same thing.
They are the same thing. AC, did you have thoughts on the Antonio Pierce situation, or you're just gonna let it play out, see how it goes with it, or whatnot?
I just think team morale. Team morale means a lot. I think that's definitely their ear to the ground for the players. When the other coach was around, so having that guy, like, we all have a coach that we can kind of talk to after the games about what we were feeling like, that we feel like is a safe place for us to speak our minds, and I think that's what he represented for a lot of them. And now that he's behind it, there's just a certain respect, that guys that actually talk the talk and walked it. Like, he's a Super Bowl champion. He was good. They raise a different kind of respect when they walk into the room. Not saying that another coach can't do such a thing like Bill Belichick or something like that, but in his situation, that's the type of guy you would want that can understand, like, bro, this is some BS. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. Curtis, we were going to talk about the Jets' abysmal offense because I think, Curtis, you are the Jets fan in the group. He's in the comments, but we're going to actually table that. We'll get to the Jets' offense next week. If Chris can gear up the best segment or your favorite segment that you don't know is your favorite segment, we're going to jump into Justin's top 5 quarterback ranking.
It's a lot of things that take into account when you talk about being viewed as a top 5 quarterback. It's not a laundry list. This is a list that, it has to be taken very seriously.
Yeah, so Mike Vick, another week to be taken seriously. And honestly, a lot of these quarterbacks were very surgical this week. So we're handing out PhDs and doctorates to everybody with how surgical some of these quarterbacks were this week. So I'll start off with my honorable mentions. I got to start off by giving Baker Mayfield, Jordan Love, Derek Carr, and Deshaun Watson their due. Obviously, Deshaun kind of sneaks into the list, kind of decent week compared to what's been before, but obviously they're honorable mentions. So coming in at number 5, it is the Pastronaut, Joshua Dobbs. Had a 101.8 QBR, 20 of 30 for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. But I think that speaks more to being able to be there in 4 days or be in the Minnesota Vikings locker room for 4 or 5 days. Hadn't even taken a snap from the center or anything of that for like the entire time he was there until obviously Jaren Hall went down. The dude started slow. The Vikings offense gave up the safety and all that other kind of stuff. But Joshua Dobbs, once he really got his foot down and kept the nose to the grindstone, he really played some really, really good football, and I would say carried this Minnesota Vikings offense to a win. And knowing him personally, I'm very, very excited for him and happy he's in Minnesota because that dude can ball. Number 4 on my list, Jalen Hurts. The quarterback rating kind of masks some of the play. Jalen Hurts had a 30.2 QBR, 17 of 23 for 207 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts, I think, still played a good football game, but you're helped out by the run game and how that offense really is. Obviously, he had the tush-push and all that to kind of help him out there, too, in the run game. Still played a good game of football, but I do think Dak Prescott, which is my number 3 quarterback, so number 3, Dak Prescott, played better than him this week. 115.2 QBR, 29 of 44, 374 yards and 3 touchdowns. I'm not blaming Dak for the loss this week in Philadelphia. Heck, you even look at the 4th touchdown that could have been if the receiver falls into the end zone instead of right on the goal line. So Dak's not the reason why the Dallas Cowboys lost this week. He was very, very surgical. And I was thinking about putting him number 2 on my list this week, but there's 2 guys that were just a little bit better. So going on to my number 2 quarterback of the week, or number 2 quarterback performance of the week, is Joe Burrow. 108.9 QBR, 31 of 44 for 348 yards and 2 touchdowns. Very similar to Dak Prescott in terms of being surgical against zone coverage. Joe Burrow was the same old Joe Burrow that we've come to expect. Very surgical in how he was dotting up everybody out on the field. We've got the old vintage Joe Burrow back, and I love seeing it. And I know AC loves seeing it too. But my number 1 quarterback of the week, he's also won himself a Hemi Award, according to ESPN, CJ Stroud, 147.8 QBR, very close to that perfect quarterback rating. 30 of 42 for 470 yards and 5 touchdowns. 470 yards is a rookie passing record for a game. CJ Stroud was unstoppable this week. I mean, he was given nothing but zone coverage, a lot of Tampa 2, a lot of cover 3 looks. CJ Stroud just picked him apart. So CJ Stroud took what the defense gave him, and he's definitely at least putting together some weeks that he's putting himself in the conversation of being a top 10 quarterback in the NFL already. So CJ Stroud, my number 1 quarterback performance of week 9. Let me know what guys I missed. Leave a like if you like this list. And hey, always hit me up on any of the social medias if you want to talk football too. So that's my quarterback performance list of week 5. Or excuse me,
and take that very seriously, except for the fact that I can't even get Sam Howell an honorable mention to that for his play, man. I mean, he had one of the best passes all week, man. That touchdown to Jahan Dotson, come on,
that was one.
great catch,
That was one.
great catch too. All right, team individual reports. We lost 2 people here. I'm sure they'll bounce back in here at some point in time. So we'll start with AC down there. Your Bengals starting to look like the Bengals of old. Nice victory over Buffalo. Solid. Yeah. What's your report down there in Cincinnati?
We're putting things back together. Ravens really scare me, but I'll take that back. Ravens are playing really good ball. I think at the end of the day, we're still the best team in our division. Me and Justin spoke about it before. I don't have any faith in Lamar Jackson's ability to throw the ball when it counts. He's not a very good with the anticipatory throws. A lot of times, if you're not wide open, he's not throwing the rock, and I don't see that working in the long run. Our defensive backfield is definitely starting to play better, and I mean, now that we got Joe moving, he looks good.
And on top of that, I think people are forgetting with how well Baltimore's defense has been playing, and Baltimore has been, that they did score only 10 points against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I mean, it's not, it hasn't been all.
Joe Mixon looks better than I've seen him in a while. He's running with more discipline. I really like it.
Playing real well. Devion, you got some great news down there in Houston. You got yourself a quarterback, one from Ohio State. It looks like, surprisingly, down there with CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud, man. What's the Houston report, man?
Massage Envy did the same thing. Now look at him. He's in Cleveland, stinking it up.
No, I'm very excited about what the Texans doing, and I would say I'm just not gonna sit here and say maybe D'Amico has already changed the program, but he's someone that has been in that system already and knows that system very well. So even though he's a defensive player, but I see Stroud doing well. He's doing very good. And I see the Texans, keeping on and holding on to him.
No, I bet. I'm sure they'll keep on. I'm sure they'll hold on to CJ for sure.
Yeah.
I actually think Houston has probably one of the most underrated wide receiving cores in the league. I think between Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Noah Brown, and they're all fairly young. I think that those 3 are extremely underrated. You may not have a true, whatever they call a true wide receiver 1, but Nico fills the role very, very nice down there in Houston. So,
and Tank can do it also. I believe so.
Yeah,
Tank gets slept on for sure.
Oh,
he's
for sure.
smaller. He's slept on. He could do it all.
Yeah. Like I said, he reminds me of that Brandon Cook that's going to give you 1,000 yards a season, but no one feels like talking about him for some reason.
He's a lot better in the yak area than Brandon Cooks, though.
Yeah.
He's nice, man. I thought he went way too low.
I like Tank. It's usually the height size, though. Like players under 5'9" don't really, especially at the wide receiver position, usually don't pan out very well. So we'll see what happens with him. But he's a baller. He was a baller down in Houston, University of Houston too. So, Krish, man, I got to rub it in again. You talked all that smack last week. All about
how I'm under 5'9". Come on, dog. Like
I said most. AC.
What's going
I said
on?
most.
What's
And
going
honestly,
on
I did
here?
not.
It's different for you, AC.
And honestly, I did not know you were under 5'9". So
I'm right underneath it.
Okay, so we'll just call it 5'9". We'll call you Steve Smith. Krish, that's what I'm saying, man. Like there you go, AC. I didn't realize you were under 5. Yeah, see. Krish, I gotta rub it in a little bit, man. I mean, you talked all that smack, and your Patriots ate a big fat L. Big fat L.
So hold on. So okay, let me hold on. Okay. So before the game, I bet Commanders money line. I won't lie. I put $40 on the Commanders.
What?
I'm kind of at the point where I'm so done with Belichick. I was kind of fed up, so I was like, you know what? Let me just throw some cash down on the Washington Commanders. I feel really good about Sam Howell, and Sam Howell came through for me. On my side as a fan, obviously, it hurt, Mac, for me to watch Mac throw that interception. considering I cashed out my bet before because I thought Mac was gonna do a game-winning job. Unfortunately, he didn't. I lost $15, which I'm pretty mad about. But I think at the end of the day, like, you know what, Mac Jones is a good quarterback. I don't think he's trash. I think he's a good quarterback in the right system. I think that if he can go in the right system, and when
Who
I mean
told you that?
I'm talking like Seattle Seahawks. I'm talking like, when Gino goes, like good system that fits his play style, he can be really good. And obviously not having our wide receiver number one, the stud himself, Kendrick Bourne, it did hurt. It was a huge loss on the offense. I thought Ramondre played okay. I don't know, man. Our offensive line is rough. Our season's over. I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that way before that our season's over. Our season was over long ago. But for me right now, it's about Belichick's future. And I honestly wouldn't mind if Belichick gets fired if they lose this week and they move on to Gerard Mayo. Because I want to see what Gerard Mayo had in him to be a head coach. But this all comes back to Robert Kraft and his cheapness. Robert Kraft is a cheap owner, and he's proven it time and time again. He's the cheapest owner in the MLS. The New England Revolution are last in player spending. The Patriots are close to last in player spending. So Robert Kraft is cheap. He likes to get massages in Miami, and he doesn't care about improving the team. So, all that legal fees, all those legal fees, you could have spent money on getting us a true offensive lineman. Like, I don't know, man. It's so frustrating for me. It really is. But, this is why I'm going to be a coach. So,
Chris is sitting at 20 and tells the dealer to hit him for, like, I don't know, the last five, 6 times. He just keeps doubling down on this. And at first it was hookers, and then it was marijuana. Now it's the massage parlors, like
Blue face,
and like, good Lord, Chris, you're on it tonight, man. You gotta stay out of the tabloids, bro.
Man,
I got you taken care of, man.
Hey, don't let anyone from Ricky Birds and Rob Storm see this, man. From the NAL, man. I'm gonna get in hot water, man. This is not me. This is my alter ego right here.
Oh, but it's all right because Rob Storm's actually watching the show. So, Justin.
Yeah, well, before I do my team report, I'll just go ahead and pull up what AC just sent to the chat. So if we can get it, zoom in here. There you go, Chris. This
Chris,
is for you.
That's for you, man. We'll take you.
It is the official NFL bandwagon transfer form to the Cincinnati Bengals.
We'll take you.
As Brady once said, or as Belichick said, on to Cincinnati. So you can be on to Cincinnati with your bandwagon fan.
We'll take you, man.
But anyway, I've already touched on the Falcons, so I'll leave my Falcons rant to where it was in the stream. So I'll just kind of flip over and talk about the Vikings. So funny enough, when I was at the game, I was wearing a Vikings t-shirt with a Falcons jersey over top of it. And then towards the end of the game, I just pulled the Falcons jersey off. And then there were some fans laughing at me around the stadium, which is kind of funny. But no, I think the first half for Minnesota, or the first part of the game, was very, very sloppy. I think Jaron Hall wasn't terrible. But you were just kind of missing something. But I kind of had a feeling fifth round rookie making his first start. It was going to be a little sloppy. I remember even telling my parents, like, this is going to be the sloppiest game of football I think I'm ever going to see. Just walking in knowing that it was Heineke versus Jaron Hall. And then you see the safety, and I've even made the comment that this is going to be the first game in NFL history to only be won or lost off of field goals and safeties. Like, no touchdowns will be scored. Probably that's already happened before, but, just in my head thinking that would be the first time in NFL history it happened. But then, no, Jaron Hall had the concussion. KJ Osborne even had the concussion, which was a very scary situation for those that were in Atlanta at the game. He was knocked out cold for about 5 minutes, or at least that's what it felt like. But luckily he's okay, seems to be doing fine. He even sat up and walked off on his own power and then was obviously carted off. So continue to rest, get better, KJ, and we'd love to see you back as number 3 here in Minnesota here pretty soon. But no, Josh Dobbs got in there. It was a little rough, but again, you expect that for a guy that was only there 5 days ago and didn't even get a snap with the center until he was being told he was going in. But I mean, the Pastronaut, as his new nickname says, I mean, he really played with a lot of heart and really played some good football once he really kind of got his feet under him and started playing. And no, I'm still going to tamper my expectations on Minnesota getting to the playoffs, but they're 5-4. I mean, Josh Dobbs is a pretty good solution to have at quarterback. I just want to continue to see how it continues to mold and gel as the season goes. I still think at the end of the day, Atlanta may have a better shot at making the playoffs just because how the division is than where Minnesota's at. But no, I mean, I'd love to see Minnesota have another kind of miracle-ish playoff run like the Case Keenum days. And Josh Dobbs is very capable of doing that. And I'd be very excited if that is the case. So good game once they really got their feet under them. A lot of defensive players made some plays. And it was just a game of, as we say in Atlanta Braves country, heart and nuts. It took a lot of heart and a lot of nuts.
I mean, talk about a whirlwind season for Josh Dobbs. It's 2 weeks before opening week, gets traded from the Cleveland Browns to the Arizona Cardinals. His named starter basically as soon as he comes in. Goes out there, almost leads to a victory over Washington, defeats Dallas the following week, loses the next few, is named starter, then recanted as starter, and then traded 2 hours later, and then 5 days later, or 5 days later, he's winning a game-winning drive for the Minnesota Vikings on a touchdown of Brandon Powell. I mean, it's just incredible. Incredible season so far. 3 teams in 1 year within like a 3-month window. And
I'd hate to see his moving costs, but I'll ask him this offseason.
He's definitely balling right now. And as for my Commanders, Ron Rivera came out today, in the front office came out today and gave a very big vote of confidence to Sam Howell. I don't know if anybody saw it or not. Said that Sam Howell is definitely the solution long term for the team. So very big vote of confidence from the coaching staff and the front office for that matter. Don't know if Ron Rivera will be there to see it. Hopefully, I want to say hopefully he is, but at the same time, I kind of want Eric Bieniemy to get his opportunity, and I want it to be with us and not somebody else. So, fingers crossed, that, maybe we see something along those lines. I like Ron Rivera, but, maybe we can turn the season around. We're still at 4-5. The NFC is wide open for all we know after, the handful of guys like your Minnesota Vikings are 5-4. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully we can put something together. I just wish the bye week wasn't so late for us. We got another 4 weeks before we even, or 3 weeks before we even get to a bye week for us. So, wish it was sooner. Trading Chase Young and trading Montez Sweat, it didn't appear to actually hurt us, at least in this first game against New England. I know the New England offensive line is absolutely horrible, so it is what it is with that. Take that with a grain of salt. KJ Henry, though, has always made plays when he's gotten the chance. Hopefully KJ Henry can come in and be kind of a work ethic guy, maybe turn himself into a Max Crosby, because that dude is a beast. Max Crosby is a friggin' monster. If you've never seen this guy play, go watch him play. And that's about it, man. That's all I got for my team report there with the Washington Commanders, and hopefully we can turn it around. Does anybody have anything else? I was going to talk about the Jets, but I feel like I want to table that conversation just a little bit because I feel like it's going to go into in-depth. But anybody else have anything here?
Well, yeah, good. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, what about the Jets? But
I got to end with this. I know we talked about early in the show about like the politics of the NFL, but I've been really thinking about that. And how I feel like the NFL, I look at the Patriots and I see Miles Bryant on the Patriots, number 27. I don't know if you guys know him. He's a corner. Yeah, he stinks. He's terrible. So when I look at a guy like that, I'm like, why? You're telling me he's better than number 27 from Texas A&M? No, that's not. No, bro. There's 29. My bad. There's certain guys who are better who are not in the league, you know what I'm saying? And I just feel like it's all about opportunity and timing. And for me, it's how I feel about Jalen McClendon. I'll ruin relationships for Jalen McClendon. I'll go to war with him, man. And my thing is it makes me upset And so I hope that like the NFL keeps looking at, spring leagues, especially with 12 teams. I feel like that's less football to focus on. And then you have the AFL on NFL Network. You know what I'm saying? So like you have all these things where I hope they start, really, really paying more attention to their dollars. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, Chris, but I mean, you're still talking about a wide open player pool of players that are not signed, that are signed, that are, doing other various things. Like, I love spring football and what it brings, and I love what the XFL and USFL brought to the table, and the merger hopefully will still bring that to the table. But you overvalue you like overdo it. Some of these guys, man, like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the politics definitely play a part in the NFL. I mean, I think we all know that to a degree. Like, I mean, I'm sure that you guys have, Justin, AC, you guys have probably both experienced it, and Debion, for all I know, you probably have experienced it as well. So politics definitely do play a part for sure. But I just, there's a reason that certain teams do certain things, and if you're not in the building, you don't really know why they're doing it that way. So
absolutely.
I mean, there's coaches that will draft the same guy just off of height and weight, and you know what I'm saying. That's it. It doesn't have anything to do with his production, his ability. They have a specific criteria for that position in mind, and they're going to keep finding guys that fit that mold.
Exactly.
Whether they're good or not, like that's just part of the game. Like, this isn't one of those equal opportunity sports by any stretch, and anybody that would believe such a thing that considers themselves a professional is fooling themselves. That's not how it works. So it really doesn't matter. It's kind of the same thing with, like we were talking about with Arthur Smith. You think there are more qualified guys for that position?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Very.
Come on, man. The fact that his dad's a billionaire gets him in rooms that he shouldn't even be in.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yep.
I would love it to be more room for opportunity, but the same things that you would be hopeful for in certain conversations, like, oh, this guy's killing in the spring league, is the same reason why he'll never get a shot to. Because there's a coach that's like, who'd he play for? The spring league?
Yep.
So it's kind of like
it's all about the connections, man.
Everything is who you know in this game. Unless you're and I feel like guys gonna go to the league, their trajectory to the league starts in high school.
Yep.
Now it's even younger than that, but there are guys specifically like he's going to the league because he did this, he went to this high school, he was in this preseason program, he went to this college, he's going to the league.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a little bit of politics in everything, and it's a game that needs to learn how to be played as well. Like, if you're going to learn how to play the game of football, you also need to learn how to play that game. And at the end of the day, it's who you know, not what you know. Not always.
Yep. No doubt. No doubt.
But to lighten the mood again, the thing I was going to say was, in honor of Kenyon and his Wi-Fi connection, I'll go ahead and do the reenactment of his team report, so everybody can start laughing at me for that. All right.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah. I can't wait to see this.
The Brownies. Yeah, we won, man. We're going to the Super Bowl. Yeah. Deshaun Watson, greatest thing ever. Myles Garrett, MVP. The Browns are beating the Bengals by 45 freaking points every single week.
Come on.
I can't wait for Kenyon to see that, man. I can't.
Literally.
That's for you, Kenyon. Yeah. I don't believe it, but that's for you.
Oh man, I mean that defense is pretty legit though, bro. I mean that defense is legit. That offense is just not.
No,
I don't know. I don't think that offense is able to keep up, man.
Well, and that's a quick conversation I could say too. I think the defense is a defense that can carry you to a Super Bowl win. But unfortunately, you're paying Deshaun Watson quarterback money that you would expect him to win you a Super Bowl. But I think he would be the reason why they wouldn't win the Super Bowl.
Yep. They would win in spite of him, not because of him.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I saw a small little video clip the other day. It was a two-parter on Jamarcus Russell and how awful he really was. Like how awful he truly, really was. Like the depth of how bad he really blew his opportunity is beyond me. Insane.
I mean,
just a name drop for you.
I think that's part of the problem though. Like when you talk about like you give a kid all that money and that's a
Oh, yeah.
star, what do you expect him to do? But that's when we're talking about like a guy that's taken care of. We're a star at LSU. He didn't have to probably do half the stuff they expect him to do. So what do you expect? Like I couldn't imagine being a superstar getting millions of dollars at that age and saying
Oh,
I'd have
yeah.
been the most, like you gotta develop talent, like they say about, LSU don't really have any good quarterbacks, right? Outside of Joe Burrow?
Outside of Joe Burrow. I mean, and to be fully honest with you, I think that what happened with the Jamarcus Russell situation was in college, he had something to play for. He had an NFL contract to get. Then once he got that NFL contract, because back then when he got drafted, there was no cap on what you could do. So he signed that huge ass deal, got all that guaranteed money, and then he didn't have nothing to play for because I don't think his passion was actually really there for football as a whole. And I think that once that passion died and it was just more about the money for him, that's when you saw him coming in overweight. I mean, he came into camp in his second year at 285 as a quarterback.
A lot of guys
You know what I
play.
mean? Like,
They said they play to take care of their family. Now his family's taken care of. So
yeah. I don't blame Jamarcus for getting his money, but it's like, what are
no,
you
I'm
playing for?
agreeing with what you're saying. Like once you
Yeah.
get that money, my
Yeah.
motivation for why I was doing all of this changes. You know what I
Oh, yeah,
mean?
for sure.
Like,
Yep, no doubt.
Oh yeah,
But-
money makes the world go round at the end of the day. Like, everyone wants that money. Everyone wants that bread, but not.
I really think you're seeing the same thing with Kyler Murray. You gave him a ton of money, but he's an immature kid.
Yeah.
Who was everything in college. Like everybody can't handle that.
Were you about to throw a pen at the camera, Chris? Because you were upset about that? Like,
bugged on the side of my computer, so I just trying to kill it. But
no, it looked like you were getting ready to throw something at the camera for AC saying that.
He's in the zombie apocalypse over there.
Look, at the end of the day, like we need to get into this whole NIL thing on another show because I have so much to say about NIL. I know we all do, but I feel like when you give young people money, they don't know how to manage their money. Like if you're under the age of 25, you don't know how to manage money. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like you got to teach these young kids how to manage their bankroll and not spend too much and everything. I'm a young kid. I'm saying it myself. Like you have to teach people like Justin and AC and Michael and even Dee. Like you guys have to be the feeder, man. You got to teach people how to manage their bread because otherwise it goes quick.
Well, yeah, we can look at your betting history and we understand you don't know how to yet. It's all love, Chris. All love.
Hey, Justin went there. I was going to go there, but, I've taken enough shots at you, I think, tonight. So, hey, I got to say, though, you take it, man. You got thick skin. It's nothing but love. But
oh, yeah, no, I know. Trust me. I know what to do. That's why, like, when I'm on this network, I kind of say what I want to say. It's not personal. I'm glad you know that. Certain team owners don't. So that's all decided in the parking lot. Everything decided in the parking lot is really that personal. So.
Well, I mean, here's some betting advice for you, Chris. Stop betting on Colorado. All right. So I think
they covered the spread this week. 13.5. They covered it. They lost by 7.
Okay, stop betting on Colorado. Yeah. Man, I just don't know what else is gonna do it for you, bro. Like, did you see the next 3 games for them?
Yeah, I'm betting 9.5. Arizona, perfect spot, perfect home spot. Bounce back for Dion. Sermon second game. Holy crap, man! Put 100 on that, man.
It's over with, man.
Okay. Go bet on Colorado. I mean, we'll talk about this next Tuesday.
It's over with.
For
the rest of the season, that train is over with.
I mean, they got Arizona, Washington State, and they close with Utah. Those are the last 3 games. And even though Washington State's not playing as good as they did at the beginning of the year, they are still a good squad.
They can't protect Shador. Like, you don't have a chance.
So basically, if Chris is cheering for you guys, if you're a team out there, you're a team GM, you're a team owner, if Chris is cheering for you, invest in the offensive line because he loves picking bad offensive lines. New England, Colorado.
Chris is the Drake. Chris is the Drake bet.
Oh man! Anybody else got anything else here after Justin's very impressive Kenyon Burney impression?
Kenyon Barner. You said Kenyon Barner.
I almost said Kenyon Barner. Yeah. Another name drop for you.
Hey, GOAT.
Oregon, of course.
Hey, we got some guys, man.
I have an announcement to make.
It's different than marijuana, Krish.
Oh Lord.
So, after further consideration, I'm gonna go ahead and get a tattoo for myself. I'm trying to decide what it's gonna be. But yeah, no. So expect me with a tattoo. Maybe I would say in a month or two for my 18th birthday. We're gonna turn up. So I have a couple ideas for tattoos. If you guys have any advice, anything, man, you guys can. I know Justin has a couple tattoos. I know Devion does. I know Alex does.
I got 0. What you talking about?
I don't have any.
Well, yeah. When by the time I'll give you by week 3 in Carolina, you'll be having tattoos.
Oh, if he's my quarterback, he's definitely getting something.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'll get your initials right here.
We're getting you something now.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, you want advice for a tattoo? Go take a look at Mike Tyson. You can go ahead and get one of those. All right.
Oh my God, not Mike Tyson.
That's gonna do it here for tonight. The goal line stand, as always. For Chris, for Justin, for Devion, for AC, and of course for Kenyon, who's not here. Not Kenyon Barner, Kenyon Burney. I'm Michael Washington for the goal line stand. Give that, Justin. I'm kicking it to you here.
Well, hey, if you like the episode, we kept this one a little short today, just for your viewing pleasure. So if you liked it, go leave a like, go leave some comments. If you have some questions that you want to have us answer, whether it's personal, about the NFL, whatever, we'll answer anything. We'll talk about it as our conversations with Chris today already knows. Go drop a like or smash the like button. Go hit subscribe. We're over 1,000 on Shady Sports Network. Let's keep it growing, elevating. And then hit that bell notification so you never miss any of these videos on this amazing channel. So that being said, I think it's time to close it out.